The narcissistic collapse of 2025 is not some random event. It's the final scene of a long-running play where the actors forgot their lines and the audience walked out. For decades, narcissists operated like unchecked con artists, pulling scams of love, family, and friendship with no one calling them out. Survivors didn't have the language, the data, or the solidarity to fight back. But now we've got TikToks, YouTubes, Substacks, Facebook groups, Reddit threads, and entire therapy fields blowing their cover. Imagine trying to sell snake oil when the whole town's got Google reviews and receipts. That's the narcissist's nightmare. And 2025 is the year it went global. Science explains it too. Narcissists' brains are wired for instant gratification, chasing dopamine hits like broke gamblers pulling a slot machine. But the slot machines are broken, baby, and nobody's giving them quarters anymore. Empaths learned to pull their energy back, and when that happened, narcissists started collapsing like cheap lawn chairs. This collapse isn't quiet, it's loud, messy, and impossible to ignore. Picture a magician mid-trick, and the curtain drops early. You see the wires, the trapdoors, the assistant rolling her eyes because she's sick of this man's nonsense. That's the narcissist in 2025, exposed, sweaty, holding a fake rabbit from Party City. The world isn't buying their illusions anymore. They parade the new supply like it's the grand prize, but everybody watching knows it's just the next victim in line for disappointment. Survivors sit back with popcorn and patience, because we've seen this rerun before. The Narc spins the same recycled plot lines, the I've changed speeches, the guilt trips, but the crowd yawns. What worked in 2010 ain't working today. You can't gaslight people who literally Googled the term gaslighting. That's why 2025 feels like a mass awakening, because everyone's finally comparing notes, and the emperor has no clothes. Now let's talk science, because the narc-op ain't just jokes, we about data too. fMRI studies show narcissists' brains light up in the reward centers when they get attention, validation, or power. But when that supply disappears, their brains literally crash, spiking cortisol and sending them into panic. Translation? Their collapse is biological as well as emotional. Survivors often mistake this collapse for "they must love me now." What you're watching is a chemical withdrawal, like a drug addict twitching because the dealer shut down shop. This is why the hoovering comes fast and sloppy. Late-night texts, fake emergencies, desperate apologies. But in 2025, the collective knowledge says, don't answer, don't explain, don't respond. Because every time you feed the beast, you're just giving them another dopamine hit. Starve the supply, and the collapse becomes permanent. Now, some of y'all still struggle with no contact, and I get it. Narcissists design entire mazes of guilt and obligation. They weaponize family ties, religion, children, money, whatever leverage they can find. But the most powerful move in 2025 is silence. Silence is not weakness, silence is power. It's the sound of the universe repossessing their mask. It's the kryptonite they never saw coming, because for years they thrived on reactions. The minute you stop reacting, they lose their audience. Imagine a circus clown with no kids in the stands. He's still juggling, but now it's just sad. That's the narcissist in collapse, performing for ghosts. And let's be clear, collapse doesn't mean they stop existing, it means they unravel. They lash out harder, their lies get sloppier, their charm rusts. You'll see them recycling old tricks, calling old numbers, pulling out dusty photos like a greatest hits album nobody asked for. Some even go spiritual, suddenly quoting scriptures or crystals they don't believe in, just to sound deep enough to bait someone back. Others lean on smear campaigns, hoping to destroy your name before theirs gets dragged. But here's the beauty of 2025. Survivors aren't scared anymore. Receipts get posted. Screenshots circulate. Group chats light up like Christmas trees, exposing every contradiction. The narc isn't collapsing in private, they're collapsing in 4K. The collapse is not just personal, it's cultural. We live in an era where manipulation used to be the standard, but transparency is king now. Think about it. Jobs Google you, dates research you, communities crowdsource your reputation. Narcissists can't keep the mask on when everyone's comparing reviews. Survivors have built entire networks of shared knowledge, and this collective wisdom is their biggest fear. They can't stand the fact that the very playbook they thought was foolproof is now published online, annotated, and memed. And while they're stuck in cycles, survivors evolve. Healing becomes fashionable, therapy becomes normalized, boundaries become sexy. Narcissists are still using gas lamps in an age of solar panels. Collapse is inevitable because their methods expired like spoiled milk. Now let's talk karma, because this is where it gets poetic. Karma in 2025 ain't some vague mystical thing, it's the ripple effect of truth. Every smear campaign bounces back, every lie gets exposed, every flying monkey files for unemployment. It's not revenge, it's math. Actions have consequences. When you treat people like props, eventually the props walk off stage. When you lie on good people, eventually the lies catch fire and burn your own house down. Narcissists thought they could outrun karma by always finding new supply. But 2025 is the year the universe said, "Nah, sit down, we keep in the receipt book." And trust me, those bills come with interest. Collapse is karma in real time. Survivors, here's the part you need to hear. Their collapse is not your problem. You didn't build their prison, you just stopped being their warden. You don't owe them sympathy, closure, or a soft landing. They had every chance to grow, but they chose exploitation over evolution. Your job isn't to rescue them from the quicksand they created. Your job is to walk away and build. Healing is not selfish, it's survival. And your glow-up? That's not petty, that's poetic justice. The Narc's collapse is proof of the very thing they denied, that you mattered. Don't waste your second chance handing CPR to somebody who stole your oxygen. Now, collapse looks different depending on the Narc. Some implode quietly, sinking into bitterness and isolation. Others explode, lashing out, burning bridges, trying to drag anyone into their chaos. But either way, it's collapse. The grandiose Narc goes from center stage to empty auditorium. The covert Narc goes from fake humility to exposed manipulation. The malignant Narc, they go from feared tyrant to lonely fool. Survivors often ask, will they ever admit it? Nah. Narcissists can't confess collapse. They'll blame, spin, and deflect until the bitter end. But the truth leaks out in their body language, their patterns, their shrinking circle. That's the confession. And speaking of shrinking circles, let's talk about flying monkeys. These are the Narc's unpaid interns doing dirty work for crumbs of attention. But 2025 is the year the monkeys unionized. Even enablers get tired of drama eventually. They see the patterns, they get burned, they pull back. And when the monkeys vanish, the Narc loses their echo chamber. No more backup singers, no more laugh tracks. It's just them yelling into the void. Collapse is amplified by loneliness, and narcissists can't stand silence. Without supply, they're just static on a broken radio. The new supply is not winning either, let's clear that up. Narcs love flaunting the new victim like they found true love, but survivors know better. Same playbook, new player. And in 2025, the new supply's got Google, Therapy TikTok, and Survivor Reddit on speed dial. They figure out faster. The love bomb fades quicker. The discard hits harder. And when they leave, the Narc's collapse doubles, because now the truth is spreading in stereo. It's like bad Yelp reviews piling up, and the business can't afford to rebrand anymore. Collapse is public record. Some survivors wonder, do Narcs feel the pain? Oh yes, they feel it. But don't confuse feeling pain with growth. Narcs feel the loss of control, the emptiness of silence, the shame of exposure. But instead of self-reflecting, they rage or numb out. Growth requires accountability, and collapse reveals they'll never get there. They'll spin sob stories to bait sympathy, but it's performance. Their pain isn't your opportunity, it's their curriculum, and most of them flunk out. Collapse is the final grade, and it's all Fs. Think of collapse like a building demolition. At first it looks stable, then you hear cracks, and suddenly the whole thing falls in seconds. That's why collapse feels shocking, even if you saw it coming. Survivors often underestimate how fragile the Narc's foundation really was. They thought it was stone, but it was papier-mâché painted gold. The collapse is loud, chaotic, and leaves rubble everywhere. But rubble is truth, proof the mask was never real. Survivors don't cause collapse, they just stop holding the beams up. And when that happens, gravity does the rest. Now here's the funny part. Narcs thought they were Wi-Fi. They thought you couldn't function without their connection. But in 2025, survivors found the router and unplugged it. Suddenly, peace is trending. Boundaries are viral. Therapy is fashionable. Narcissists can't compete with self-love, and it drives them nuts. Imagine a DJ whose playlist got replaced with silence, but everybody's still dancing. That's collapse. Their music got cut off and the party moved on. Collapse also shows up physically. Stress hormones spike. Sleep evaporates, skin breaks out, bodies ache. Studies show chronic narcissistic stress correlates with immune issues. Karma ain't just mystical, it's medical. When you live in lies, the body rebels. Survivors glow up because healing regulates the nervous system. Narcs break down because chaos eats theirs alive. By 2025, we'll see more research confirming what survivors always knew. The body keeps the score, and narcs are losing. Collapse is written in their faces, their health, their restless nights. And don't forget finances, because collapse hits the wallet too. Narcs burn bridges so bad, opportunities vanish. They sabotage jobs with arrogance, ruin partnerships with greed, and blow money chasing supply. Survivors stack paper, build businesses, invest in peace. Narcs? They're cashing out dignity for attention tokens. 2025 is the year the money karma came due. You'll see the flexers humbled, the scammers exposed, the manipulators broke. Collapse doesn't skip the bank account. You can't spend fake love like currency. So what do survivors do during collapse? Stay out the way. Don't save them, don't shade them, don't explain them. Watch from a distance if you must, but don't step back into the circus. Collapse is not your entertainment, it's their consequence. Your energy is too valuable to waste on rubble. Focus on building, on glowing, on thriving. Let them choke on the dust cloud of their own implosion. Collapse is a spectator sport, but you don't need front row tickets. By now you see the pattern. Collapse isn't an accident, it's an outcome. It's what happens when you live on lies, exploit love, and disrespect the very souls that gave you oxygen. It's not punishment, it's physics. You can't build skyscrapers on sand. Survivors are learning, and 2025 is proof. We're in an era where empathy is power, and exploitation is exposure. The world has receipts, the universe has patience, and karma has Wi-Fi. Collapse is just connection lost. Here's the kicker. Collapse doesn't mean survivors won. It means survivors finally stopped playing a game they couldn't win. The real victory is peace, silence, and self-respect. The narc can collapse, spin, rage, smear. That's not your business. Your business is healing. Your glow-up is louder than any collapse. The narc thought you'd never walk away, but you did, and the collapse proves you were always the prize. So remember this, collapse started with chaos, but it ends with karma. Started with manipulation, ends with exposure. Started with lies, ends with receipts. Survivors don't need revenge, because the collapse is revenge enough. Narcs hate that the truth is louder than their lies. They hate that silence echoes louder than arguments. They hate that peace shines brighter than chaos. But hate it or not, collapse is their destiny in 2025. Survivors are free, thriving, glowing, unstoppable. And the narc? Just another cautionary tale written in rubble. If you like this content, give us a follow. Thank you for listening to the Narc.